Good evening, you're now with me, Lorenzo Isaac, for TVS Nightline. Here are the headlines for tonight. Health Ministry in Gaza reports 21,507 fatalities. 16 dead, 97 wounded in Russian strikes. Sarawak receives additional 1.5 million litres of diesel. The Health Ministry in Hamas-run Gaza said Friday that at least 21,507 people have been killed in the Palestinian territories since war with Israel erupted on October 7. The figure includes 187 fatalities over the past 24 hours. It added that 55,915 people have been wounded in Gaza during the fighting.
Meanwhile, according to the United Nations, more than 80% of Gaza's 2.4 million people have been driven from their homes. The UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, UNRWA, said 308 people seeking shelter in the facilities have been killed during the war. A total of 1,095 have been wounded while taking refuge at UN sites. Israel has vowed to destroy Hamas in retaliation for the October 7 attack, which left about 1,140 people dead, mostly civilians. Around 250 hostages were also taken during the attack, more than half of whom remain captive.
The latest wave of Russian strikes in Ukraine on Friday resulted in at least 16 deaths and almost 100 injuries. Ukraine's Prosecutor General Andriy Kostin disclosed that over 150 missiles and attack drones were fired by Russia, causing 97 injuries, including 2 children aged 6 and 8 years old.
The military said 150 missiles and drones were fired on Ukraine and 114 of them were destroyed. Following the incident, Ukraine is urging Western allies to maintain military support after the United States just released its final package of weaponry under existing agreements. Russia tried to overwhelm Ukraine's air defenses across most major cities, launching a wave of shaded attack drones followed by missiles of numerous types fired from planes and from Russian-controlled territory. Buildings damaged in 6 cities included warehouses, a shopping mall, and maternity hospital.
Ministry of Domestic Trade and Cost of Living announced that the supply of diesel in Sarawak has been restored, as Sarawak today received about 1.5 million litres of additional diesel supply following several petrol stations in the state running out of supply recently. In a statement today, the Ministry of Domestic Trade and Cost of Living, KPDN, said that the fuel was delivered by Petronas Dagangan Berhad, adding that it will continue monitoring and inspecting the status of the supply. On Wednesday, KPDN Minister Dato' Armizan Muhammad Ali said Petronas Dagangan Berhad would deliver additional diesel to Sarawak within 2 days following Petronas' own stations in the state running out of supplies. On Monday, it was reported that Sarawak faced a shortage in subsidized diesel supply, especially in the central part of the region. The Sarawak Forestry Corporation SFC has deployed its Swift Wildlife Action Team SWAT to eliminate any hazardous crocodiles posing a threat in the Semarang rivers and its vicinity. Its Wildlife Enforcement Executive Dr. Muhammad Izwan Zulaini Abdul Ghani stated that the operation will be in effect until January 6 of the coming year.
Untuk tuan-tuan dan puan, operasi ini objektif utama pihak pasukan SWAT Swift Wildlife Action Team ataupun SWAT di bawah SFC adalah untuk mengeluarkan mana-mana buaya yang kita anggap ancaman kepada penduduk setempat. Okey. Ancaman di sini maksudnya ialah buaya yang sering kelihatan berdekatan dengan kawasan-kawasan rumah penduduk. Kita cari dan cuba menangkap buaya yang bertanggungjawab. Dan apabila buaya yang ditangkap nanti, mungkin kita akan berlaku bedah siasat dan mengikut pengalaman kita sebelum ni lah, untuk operasi-operasi sebelum ni ada keberangkalan kita akan jumpa mungkin bahagian-bahagian manusia yang di dalam perut lah. Tapi itu bergantung pada penemuan-penemuan kita nanti.
He said this at a media conference at the Kuching Wetland National Park office at Telaga Air recently. According to him, the operation involves the use of firearms. Therefore, residents in the area are strongly advised to reduce activities near the river throughout the 10 days of operation.
Sekarang untuk tempoh 2 hari pertama, kami lebih memfokuskan kepada melihat keadaan di lokasi dan riki area lah, kita riki kawasan. Sepanjang 2 hari ni kita ada nampak terlibat berapa lah individu-individu buaya, dan kami ada juga membuat pemantauan di sebelah malam. Okay, kalau untuk pihak kami, pemantauan sebelah malam ni lebih mudah untuk kita menjumpai lah buaya, terutamanya bila kita suluh dengan lampu. Jadi di sanalah kita lebih senang lah untuk mengenal pasti kawasan-kawasan strategik sebelum kita memasang perangkap. Okey, dan semalam juga kami dah memasang beberapa perangkap lah di kawasan, termasuk kawasan tidak jauh daripada tempat lokasi kejadian mangsa di Baham pada berapa hari bulan? 24 hari bulan.
On Saturday, a 15-year-old boy was snatched by a crocodile while he was fishing along with 3 of his friends at a river in Semarang. The case was the first of its kind reported in the area. Meanwhile, Fire and Rescue Department Sarawak Director Datu Kirudin Drahman revealed that 50 cases of crocodile attacks have been recorded in Sarawak since 2018. This includes the latest case in Semarang, in addition to Oya and Betong, with 3 cases this year. According to Kirudin, northeast monsoon transition also contributes to one of the factors of the crocodile's presence near the residential area. He said that there were several cases of lost crocodiles recorded last year during the flood, causing concern among the local population.
Dalam waktu banjir ini, kita pastikan keselamatan diri kita lah. Pertama kali, punca-punca makanan yang boleh menyarik perhatian binatang inilah. Contohnya anak-anak kucing di dalam sangkar, ayam yang berada di tepi ini akan jadi satu daya tarikan kepada mereka, dan mereka bila keadaan banjir besar, kemungkinan sos atau pemakanan ikan susah mereka dapat, udang, maka mereka tak ada pilihan dan mereka akan menceroboh kawasan untuk mencari makanan. Jadi kita kena hati-hati.
Meanwhile, Sarawak Forestry Corporation has strongly advised the public, particularly farmers and smallholders, to remain vigilant during the monsoon season. This caution is crucial as crocodiles tend to be more active and aggressive during this period, which coincides with their breeding season. Dr. Muhammad Izwan Zulaini Abdul Ghani highlighted that the agency has received reports of crocodile nests being discovered in farm areas.
Gambar-gambar macam mana rupa ni, mungkin bagi setengah orang ia adalah satu benda yang biasa. Kebun, di kebun tengok gumpalan rumput, oh itu tidak apa. Tapi mungkin ia adalah sarang buaya, dan kebiasaannya buaya betina akan berada berdekatan. Mesti contoh, kalau tuan-tuan pernah ingat kes di Maliha, bila anggota cuba mendekati sarang tu, buaya tu bertindak menyeranglah. Itulah salah satu contohnya. Jadi
He added crocodiles typically build their nest 100 meters from the river, and it can go even up to a kilometer on land. Iswan added that the corporation has installed more than 213 warning signs in areas identified as high risk and frequently sighted across Sarawak, including 98 warning signs in Kuching.
The Sarawak State Government, as emphasized by the Deputy Minister of Education, Innovation and Talent Development, Dato Dr. Anwar Rapai, regards students from Independent Chinese Secondary School ICSS as valuable citizens. Dr. Anwar Rapai emphasized that all Sarawakian students, irrespective of their origins, are considered valuable contributors to the state's development.
The Sarawak government's support for independent Chinese secondary schools underscores its acknowledgement of the students' interests and their potential contributions to the state's human capital.
Seorang anak tiri, kita menganggap mereka juga anak negeri Sarawak. Sebab itu kerajaan negeri Sarawak adalah satu-satunya kerajaan negeri. Malah peringkat dasar, peringkat nasional pun tidak dapat sama dengan negeri Sarawak. Pertama, pelajar-pelajar daripada sekolah ini dibenarkan untuk mendapat beasiswa negeri. Kedua, mereka ini dibenarkan untuk memohon kerja di mana-mana jabatan kerajaan negeri. Yang ketiga, paling penting, mereka ini juga boleh diterima masuk ataupun direcognize untuk masuk ke mana-mana universiti kepunyaan kerajaan negeri, misalnya UTS, Swinburne dan juga Ketin. Jadi kita tidak membeza mereka ini daripada arus mana, arus kebangsaan ke ataupun arus bukan kebangsaan, bukan daripada sekolah Cina ini. Ini pendekatan yang tidak dapat dilaksanakan oleh mana-mana.
He said this in Dialogue TVS program broadcasted on Thursday. There are 14 independent Chinese secondary schools in Sarawak. Notably, this year, 10 million ringgit has been granted to support the operation and development of these schools, bringing the total expenditure to 52 million ringgit.
More news coming up right after the break, including COVID-19 situation in Malaysia is still under control, and Spanish Prime Minister appoints new economy minister. Only on TVS Nightline. Stay tuned.
Kalau nak buat bisnes, pergi dekat Teraju. Kalau nak pertingkatkan bakat, skill, iaitu reskill dengan upskill, datang kepada kami, Yayasan Peneraju. Bila kita tengok jumlah penerima faedah beasiswa kita, hampir 65,000 dah sekarang. Hanya 2,000 daripada Sarawak. Sikit.
Saksikan Dialog TVS, Khamis, 8.45 malam. Hanya di TVS, saluran 122.
Welcome back. The Health Ministry, MOH, has reassured the public that the COVID-19 situation in Malaysia is still under control with due attention to its mortality rate. Its Minister, Dato Sri Dr. Zulkifli Ahmad, underscored that the majority of COVID-19 cases in Malaysia exhibit mild symptoms, eliminating the necessity for hospitalization.
In a statement issued today, the Epidemiology Week 51 from December 17 to 23rd, the hospital admission rate for individuals with COVID-19 is at 0.5%, while the mortality rate is 0.08%. He highlighted that Malaysia has not detected any new variants, aside from the Omicron variant and its subvariants, the XBB.1.16, XBB.1.5, EG.5 and JN.1. He assured that spreading subvariants of Omicron do not lead to more severe cases. Dr. Zulkifli anticipates the coexistence of the COVID-19 virus, adopting a living with the virus approach similar to other respiratory viruses like influenza, and advised vulnerable groups such as the elderly and those with chronic conditions to wear face masks in crowded settings or when using public transportation. The public is strongly encouraged to consistently follow personal care responsibilities, including the use of face masks when necessary, compliance with the 3 important steps, and regular updates on their status on MySejahtera. This adherence is crucial for protecting vulnerable populations and obtaining accurate information about respiratory infections, including COVID-19, from credible sources.
The Central Database Hub PADU will not be integrated with bank information systems, assures Economy Minister Rafizi Ramli, noting that the country's banking system is governed by the Financial Services Act 2013, which does not permit data sharing.
Kalau berkaitan dengan bank, tak ada. Sebab bank akta dia memang akta Financial Services Act does not allow for any such sharing. So
the 3 agencies involved in PADU development include Ministry of Economy, the Department of Statistics Malaysia (DOSM), and the Malaysian Administrative Modernisation and Management Planning Unit (MAMPU) in collaboration with other agencies. He remarked the development of the system surpassed all projects implemented by private entities in the past in terms of its capability to be completed in a short period. According to him, PADU involves the development of the largest data system ever made by the public sector and possibly the largest in the country's history, as it involves details for each of the 32 million Malaysians. PADU will be launched on January 2nd, 2024 by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim. The system will be open for 3 months for Malaysian citizens to verify and update their socio-economic data. And Rafizi said data from PADU will be used to target subsidies for eligible groups in the future.
The Royal Malaysia Police (PDRM) had mobilised 750 personnel and 144 assets to assist in operations in 5 states affected by floods. Deputy Inspector General of Police Datuk Sri Ayub Khan Maidin Pichai said of the 144 assets, 47 are boats, 32 are trucks, 59 are 4-wheeled vehicles, and 6 are ambulances and vans. The 5 affected states are Terengganu, Kelantan, Johor, Pahang, and Sabah.
Setakat 28 Disember tuan, kita telah mengerahkan, setakat ni ada masih lagi 5 negeri yang menghadapi masalah bencana ni, dan PDM telah menggerakkan 750 semua manusia, aset-aset pasukan ini melibatkan 47 buah bot, 32 buah lori, 59 buah kenderaan pacuan 4 roda, 6 van ataupun ambulans. Ini mengikut perkembangan semasa lah.
The latest report on disaster incidents across the country, issued by the National Disaster Management Agency NADMA's National Disaster Command Centre this morning, showed that the number of flood victims in 4 states, namely Kelantan, Terengganu, Johor and Pahang, has not changed earlier today. The number of evacuees at 103 temporary relief centres across the 4 states slightly decreased to 23,008 from 23,011 recorded last night. Meanwhile, the floods in Sabah have fully receded, with the last group of 6 victims from 3 families in the Paitan district being allowed to return to their homes yesterday.
Trisan tubong putri sa jenjang, penjaga gunung negeri Sarawak. Mana kapal terbang? Mana kapal terbang? Assalamualaikum dan selamat sejahtera yang menengok video saya ini. Jangan lupa kepada orang-orang Sarawak. Saya akan datang pergi Kuching Sarawak untuk persiapan langsung di TVS di kontinya sendiri bersama dengan rakan-rakan yang lain. Jadi kamu datang di sana untuk hari bersejarah 31 Desember ini. Jom, mana kapal terbang ini?
Moving on to international affairs. An award-winning architect in Bangladesh, a country highly vulnerable to climate change-driven flooding, has designed an innovative two-floor housing solution to address the escalating threat. Amid this year's annual monsoon floods along the Brahmaputra River, 40-year-old farmer Abu Said successfully avoided abandoning his home for the first time in his life. Instead, he utilized the architect's design, climbing up a ladder to wait out the floodwaters in the elevated structure.
The Kudibari, or tiny house, resilient homes built on bamboo stilts above floodwaters and easily movable to safer locations, offer hope to millions in flood-prone Bangladesh. Farmer Abu Said, among the many living on the country's river flood plains due to fertile soil for crops like maize and chili, expressed gratitude to the invention, stating it has saved them during floods. Bangladesh is ranked as the 7th most vulnerable to extreme weather and rising sea levels, as per the environmental rights organization German Watch. The country's low-lying landscape, consisting largely of deltas formed by the Ganges and Brahmaputra rivers, makes relocating the at-risk population to higher ground a formidable challenge.
Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez on Friday appointed Carlos Cuerpo, who currently heads the Treasury Department, to be his new economy minister. Cuerpo, who studied at the London School of Economics, will replace Nadia Calvino, a heavyweight in his cabinet, who is leaving to head the European Investment Bank, the bloc's lending arm, whose significance has grown since war broke out in Ukraine.
The 43-year-old will have to deal with the phasing out of a series of inflation relief policies in the Eurozone's fourth largest economy, including cuts to the value-added tax on electricity and subsidies for transportation as growth slows. Sanchez praised Cuerpo as an honest professional with a deep knowledge of public administration and economic policy. Little known in Spain, Cuerpo worked closely with Calvino, 55, who served as an economy minister since Sanchez came to power in 2018. Appointment was seen as an attempt to send a message of stability to markets which were concerned about the new minority socialist government's reliance on the far left and on Basque and Catalan separatist parties to pass legislation. Calvino, who previously worked in the European Commission's budget department in Brussels, reportedly proposed Cuerpo as her replacement.
Vietnam's economy grew by 5.05% in 2023, falling short of a government target of 6.50%. according to official figures published on Friday. The communist country's GDP stood at 426 billion dong, with growth down from 8% last year.
Vietnam's manufacturing exports declined by 4.4%, partly due to global competition and conflicts in Ukraine and the Middle East, reports the General Statistics Office. Despite the setback, Vietnam earned $355.5 billion from exports in 2023. The country's GDP growth fell short of its potential, according to Tran Thi Ha Mai of Rong Viet Stocks Company. The Asian Development Bank predicted 5.8% growth for Vietnam, primarily due to weak external demand. While Vietnam's economy rebounded from the pandemic initially, it has since slowed. Over 217,000 businesses entered or returned to the market, up 4.5% year-on-year, and the average monthly income increased to $288, nearly 7% higher than last year.
See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news updates both locally and internationally. Up-to-the-minute headlines are now available across all of our social media platforms. And that's all the updates for TVS Nightline. I'm Lorenzo Isaac. Thank you for watching and have a good night.